I'm Steve Wilkerson, and I'm with Jim Saunders, Executive Editor of the News Service of Florida. Jim, there's a growing controversy nationwide and in Florida about Common Core, which are standards for achievement of certain course areas. And this is beginning to really get hot in Florida. The Speaker and the President are concerned about it. And Florida is talking about, the governor's concerned about it too, and Florida's talking about withdrawing from a consortium to develop tests to meet these standards. Talk to us about that.
Yeah, well, the governor signaled pretty clearly last week that he wants, Florida to get out of this consortium. It's states across the country have come together and trying to develop these tests to sort of carry out the Common Core standards. The controversy is that a lot of particularly conservatives, Tea Party conservatives, argue that this Common Core movement is an effort to federalize education. So, the governor basically said that he didn't, it isn't final, but he basically took the steps towards pulling Florida out of this consortium. What that means is Florida's going to have to find another way to develop tests or buy tests or find tests to actually implement Common Core if it indeed continues to implement Common Core.
And former Governor Jeb Bush supports Common Core.
Yeah, it's sort of interesting to watch the dance between the two of them because Jeb Bush is probably one of the most outspoken people in the country on Common Core. He thinks these standards are necessary to be able to measure student achievement. It's a big deal with him. And meanwhile, you got Governor Scott pulling back from the consortium, the testing consortium, and leaving open some sort of questions about whether, the state will go full bore with Common Core going forward. There's also deadlines coming up. I mean, 2014, 2015 school year is when it's really supposed to be fully in place. So, that's less than a year away at this point.
Just another example of the Tea Party asserting itself and even in infighting within the Republican Party.
Yeah, and there's a bill filed in the legislature by Representative Debbie Mayfield of Vero Beach to basically have the state pull out of Common Core. On the other hand, the Democrats have started hammering away at Scott because they say, he's just pandering to the Tea Party and they're trying to make him look like an extremist on this issue. And so it's a very it's a complicated issue in terms of the technical parts of it, but the politics of it are very volatile.
Well, this is an important week because October 1st is within this week, and that's when a lot of laws become real. And there's one that comes into effect this week having to do with basically outlawing texting while driving. First of all, what does texting include?
Yeah, it's working on your phone as you're driving along. You see people all the time driving down the street, halfway looking and halfway doing this. It's not talking on the phone. I don't think that ban would ever fly, but it takes effect. It's been talked about for a few years, and so there are some exceptions to it. For instance, if you're sitting at a stoplight and it's red, you can text or send an email or whatever. But if you're driving down the street, you're not supposed to be doing it. The other thing is they're going to enforce it as what they call a secondary offense. So, they're not going to be pulling people over for texting. But if someone gets stopped for speeding or gets in an accident or something, and the officer knows that or can tell that they were texting, they'll give them a ticket for it.
Another law taking effect this week is directed at stopping or slowing sex trafficking and prostitution by limiting the hours that massage parlors can be open. Let's talk about the linkage between massage parlors and those other activities.
Well, this whole sex trafficking issue has become fairly prominent in Florida over the last year. Attorney General Pam Bondi has made it a real high-profile issue for her. The legislature started talking about it. And the problem is, apparently, particularly in South Florida, is where I hear about it mostly, is that there's these massage establishments that are essentially fronts for prostitution, and they fear sex trafficking. So, basically they're saying these places can't operate from midnight to 5 a.m., and also people can't live there. So they're trying to, prevent ways that they may have been, operating in illegal fashions.
So no more of that.
That's what they're trying to do.
Okay. Thank you, Jim. For more about Florida politics and government, visit the advances section of our website.